People who were born deaf but gained hearing later in life. What objects did you expect to make noise? I had a child friend that gained hearing and she didn't realize you could control the volume of your voice. So when I whispered to her, she said, "Hang on, I think I need to adjust my hearing aid." At first I just thought, oh, it mustn't be working, until I realized what was going on. She whispered to me for about 2 weeks solid just to practice. D, D, D. Yes, she also practiced the shouting. But we did that in secluded woodlands. That should be like the beginning of a cute but sad movie. Pixar has entered the chat. That's really cute. Got waterproof hearing aids. Taking a shower scared the everlasting Christ out of me. Edit. I have a cochlear implant on one side, hearing aid on the other. I don't use waterproof unless I go swimming. One time, after swimming, I decided to keep them on when I was showering, and I got shivers down my spine. Seems like everyone is answering the reverse. My friend got his hearing at age 6. He swears to this day that he thought flowers would make some sort of noise and that's what attracted bees. Finally a real answer, lol. Yeah, this is what I opened the thread for. Nernrud makes a sound to attract adventurers. Not me. My good friend who's hard of hearing told me about how before he got hearing aids, he thought that all fridges made a beeping sound, like an alarm, when you open them so the house knows when you're getting something. Turns out his mom just told him that to stop him from eating all their snacks. This is awesome, lol. Parenting hack FTW. At least until the kids got hearing aids. To be fair, my Samsung fridge does have an alarm and it beeps loudly if left open for more than a minute. My fridge does this too. Unsure of the kind at the moment, but I like that it does that up until I go to put groceries away. And it just beeps at me until I finish. A former coworker went to RIT, where they've got a school for the deaf. In the summertime, hearing all the deaf students loudly having sex with the windows open because they didn't realize how loud they were was one of the funniest things about going there. ACCD to him. Edit. Oops, I guess this is the inverse of the question. Still interesting though. Edit. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold. It's my first. Edit 2. I have friends that go to RIT, and I used to visit them regularly. Can confirm. The deaf kids are real loud. I audibly laughed at this. Don't worry, I don't think they heard you. I wasn't born deaf but went deaf due to illness probably around the age of 4 months. Got my hearing back around 8 years old through surgery. I used to think traffic lights made noise. Street signs, too. Like when a stop sign has a blinking light for added visibility. I think that's actually where I got the idea in my head. They're trying to get your attention, right? So of course they must put sirens in all the traffic lights. My mom says I used to hold my ears when we drive through an intersection, though I don't remember that part. I couldn't hear until I was around 4-ish. I remember being surprised trains were relatively quiet for their size. Most trains are loud as hell in my experience. I think he means subway transport trains, not the big freighter trains. Edit. I once rode a train in Calgary, Canada. That's my only experience with subway trains, and it wasn't that loud. I cannot claim that all subway trains aren't loud, as I have only experienced one of them. Gotta edit once again. I see. I went to Calgary like 8 years ago for a hockey thing. The train went underground at some point or through a tunnel that lasted a while. Not sure if that counts as a subway. I'm just a country boy. Yay, those are loud as shit. I would have my noise-canceling headphones on and could still hear them. Is this because of the Sun Post? Question mark. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely yes. Certain ideas and phrases travel around Reddit and cause noticeable trends. Today I learned is one of the most obvious of these, with a post one day clearly being the cause of a different but related post the next day. Also, you can tell which movies have come out on Netflix because our movie details starts posting about them a ton. Question: if you lose your hearing, can you still have tinnitus? That would be a nightmare to have ringing in your ear without any other sound to mitigate it. Quick Google search brought up, being hearing impaired doesn't exempt you from these kinds of sounds. Unfortunately, deaf people are more likely to have tinnitus. In fact, it's thought to be linked to the damage that caused the deafness itself. Oh darn, that's trouble for me as I age. Hate my tinnitus. I hear you, it makes me crazy. Outlets. Again obligatory, not me but my dad progressively went deafer as life went on and was almost 100% deaf by around age 20. He got a cochlear implant when I was around 7 years old. Put them in. Asked my mom, "Are the kids always this damn loud?" and proceeded to take the cochlear implant off so he didn't have to listen to my little brother and I yelling. Always thought that was funny. Honestly, being deaf when having young children probably makes parenting more tolerable, haha. Definitely. Any toy that makes noise gets donated or loses its batteries. To say nothing of the screaming. My daughter, who is 4, has grown up with my moderate to severe hearing loss. Back in May, I finally got some hearing aids and it took her a while to stop yelling at me so I could hear her. She was so loud for those first few weeks, and I was constantly questioning whether she was this loud all the time. Candles are fire. I regained my hearing at the age of 2, so I was absolutely heartbroken when I discovered that birthday candles did not make any sounds while burning. Also, I expected flashing lights to make some sort of noise. Not really sure what I expected exactly, but maybe like a siren or a loud bang. I had a friend who was born deaf but got hearing aids. She always thought people yawning was people randomly screaming, so it always confused her why people would be screaming in the library, movies, the church, in public, etc. She never asked why were people screaming because she thought it was normal. After she got the hearing aid, she thought she'd be hearing people scream when they yawned. Not me. But when I was in high school, a bunch of kids would meet in a nearby no man's land and hang out. Before school started, I spent most of my mornings loudly talking to my almost deaf friend. One day he showed up and said he had a new hearing aid. I didn't have to yell at him to get him to hear me anymore. Yay. Few minutes later he asked what that noise was. I asked which noise. Listening and hearing nothing out of the ordinary. I don't know. It's like a weird beeping. Almost musical. Really bizarre, but actually kind of pleasing. Took me a minute to realize my man was hearing birdsong for the first time in his life. Was a pretty cool moment. Edit. I now realize this is maybe the opposite of what was being asked. That's a great story. Love this story. Thanks for sharing. Ah, I like this smiley face. Not personally, but one of my friends basically said, "How the fuck do you people stand all this noise?" Quote, "You learn to filter. I'm half deaf. In crowded and noisy places it's gonna be weird for me if you yell from a distance. No triangulation. The brains of hearing people developed in a way that filters it. It's not just that the person who did not hear earlier in life is not accustomed to all the sound. Their brain is not wired to filter it. I have an uncle who got hearing aids and wondered how people didn't go mad hearing their own footsteps all the time. To him, he was so unused to it that it took him months to get used to it and not think someone was following him all the time." One of my close friends in high school has a younger sister who used to be deaf before she got cochlear implants. We were watching a silent movie for a film class, and her younger sister thought that all movies made noise. She ran out thinking she was deaf again. Edit for clarity. We watched it at her home for an assignment. We were pretty quiet. Younger sister just panicked to see a movie playing in no noise because her experience is that movies are real loud. Only realized that she could still hear after she heard the door close. Meanest prank ever. Silent films almost always had some music played to accompany them. Sometimes by a single person improvising on a piano. Sometimes by a full-on orchestra. And anything in between. Odd that a film class would omit that context. Asterisk okay, well, the edit explains that. Your poor sister. Lol.
Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.